One young lady said that they had played about the greater part of the day and that the defendant sat in his armchair, smoking cigarettes and reading newspapers. The whole thing was a scam.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the diciest reveals on Who Do You Think You Are?
Yeah, unfortunately, when your ancestor arrived, he would have found the front courtyard of the Westgate Hotel full of injured and killed Chartists.
Oh no.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 10. Kim Cattrall's bigamist ancestor.
Try to find any factual evidence of her grandfather. Kim has asked a researcher to look through the Family Records Office in London.
Cattrall is best known for starring in Sex and the City, but she's originally from Liverpool. When she came onto the series, she was most interested in finding out more about her grandfather, George Bohr.
Got remarried to Isabel Oliver, 21-year-old woman. August the 5th, 1939.
It turned out he was considered a bigamist since he abandoned his family, then within a year remarried.
Wow. He's a bigamist.
This new wife was a 21-year-old woman with whom George had at least 3 children. The pair ran away to Australia against his new wife's wishes, where he lived until dying in 1974. Cattrall was understandably upset by George's life choices.
Within a year, he was remarried. That I find I'm quite angry about that. As a woman, I find that really despicable.
Number 9. Gardening drama.
Joseph's plans led to a bitter dispute with the park's commissioners, which Kate Papakosma has researched from local newspaper records.
TV legend Bruce Forsyth appeared on the show years ago, where he dug deep into the life of his great-grandfather, Joseph Forsyth Johnson. Turned out he was a bigamist as well, spending a great deal of time in the States. He was a landscape gardener by trade, making him known for his extravagant flower shows.
He said even before he was hired that there were some trees that needed to come down in the park to open up some vistas and to improve the health of the park.
Turns out he got into a spot of bother for nearly removing all the trees in a park in America, which Forsyth read about in a decades-old newspaper.
As often happens, the public got very upset and some of the commissioners got upset.
Unfortunately, Joseph abandoned both of the families he had made during his life, although he wasn't technically a bigamist, as he never married his second partner.
The park broiled.
Royal.
And you see here the next sub-headline: Joseph Forsyth Johnson gone. So despite...
gone.
Yes.
You can't find him, you certainly can't join them.
Number 8. Graeme Norton's shotgun wedding.
Why would a woman have 2 different names in her past? It suggests something went on, whether she was trying to hide something or whether something has been hidden.
The comedian and presenter Graeme Norton wanted to uncover the secrets of his Irish ancestors. He managed to be successful in this endeavor, learning that his great-great-grandmother Mary had got married while 8 months pregnant.
She was so far gone when she got married.
There's only a month.
A month? That does really shock me, because even now you'd get a bit of a move on down the aisle.
This is hardly scandalous by today's standards, but back then, attitudes were completely different. Not only this, but Mary's mother had 4 children, all potentially illegitimate. None of them had a father listed on their birth records, except one with the name Fred Dewey scratched out. Norton also found that he had relatives who would have fought for England during the 1798 Irish Rebellion, which was tough for him to learn.
I suppose what I'm thinking about is good, I'm not the first person to bring shame on the family, but in terms of unconventional living, you can't imagine it being the happiest day of her life.
Number 7. Rupert Everett's stockbroker ancestor.
To finally solve the mystery of what led Frederick Everett to leave his family and go to sea, Rupert has come to the British Library.
This actor has been in the public eye since the 80s. He was born in Norfolk in 1959 and wanted to learn more about his paternal grandfather, Cyril Everett. Cyril's father and grandfather ended up being the more interesting family members.
Here's another clipping about mentioning him
charge of fraud against a stockbroker.
The former was called Frederick, who spent most of his life sailing around the world. He married 3 times in total, which made Rupert feel like his life was an Ealing comedy.
With intent to defraud. So obviously he was accused of selling bad stock.
Frederick's father had a much more tragic story. He was once a stockbroker, but was accused of fraud. Despite being found innocent, it ruined his life.
He was accused of taking money from investors to buy shares, but never making the investments, and instead keeping the money for himself.
Number 6. Sheridan Smith and the alleged arsonist.
There's scarcely any furniture in any of the rooms. Doubleday was the only person on the premises. He was leaving the house this week, having removed most of his belongings.
Our next celebrity wanted to learn if any of her ancestors were musical. This is because her parents are country and western musicians. It turned out that her great-great-grandfather, Benjamin Doubleday, was a Victorian banjo player. Unfortunately, Sheridan stumbled upon an allegation that he was an arsonist.
Serious charge against an ex-publican.
A pub of his burned down with no one in it, which made many believe he was committing insurance fraud.
If I can just draw your attention to the last line.
Prisoner was found not guilty and discharged.
Yeah.
This was initially an embarrassing story, but it turned out that he was found innocent in the end, then went on to become a successful music teacher.
So there's Benjamin, listed as a music teacher.
So after his arrest and after everything else and being found not guilty, he's still teaching music.
Number 5. Accidental poisoning.
Mary Ann Garrett died on the 12th of April, 1899. She was 57 years old, and she was the wife of Charles Garrett, who was a butcher and a farmer.
The famous singer Lesley Garrett also made a shocking discovery when she appeared on the series. Once upon a time, her great-great-grandfather Charles seemed to have fatally poisoned his wife in 1899. Instead of giving her medicine, he handed her a bottle of carbolic acid, which led to her death.
Death from poisoning by carbolic acid, accidentally administered. Oh, for goodness sake. Wow! By whom?
For those unaware, that's a powerful disinfectant the Victorians loved to use. Charles was so outraged, he smashed both of the bottles to prevent a repeat.
Shocking death. A wife accidentally poisoned by her husband.
This likely explains why Lesley's grandparents didn't keep in contact with Charles. The incident sounds dark to us, but Lesley seemed to find it hilarious.
Reaching the bottle off the mantel shelf, he poured out a tablespoon of the contents into a wine glass. The medicine bottle was also on the mantel shelf, and it too was labelled and similar in shape to the one containing the poison.
Number 4. Russian roulette.
Within 7 months of taking up his post in Malaya, 35-year-old Tom Darling would be dead. But exactly how he died is still unclear.
Scottish actor Alan Cumming dug deep into the life of his grandfather, Thomas Darling, when he appeared on the series. Initially, Alan knew that he had been killed in a shooting accident while working as a soldier. After doing some hunting, he found out that Thomas had left his daughter's life when she was only 8.
Cause of death, GS wound in head. GS gunshot wound in head.
She was told he died while cleaning a gun, but in actuality, he died playing Russian roulette in Malaya. Alan was blown away that he would play a game like that, but it makes more sense after learning how intense his life was. Thomas had been quite well liked where he died, leading locals to name part of the park in Malaysia after him.
But was it a common thing to do, to play Russian roulette here?
Not that I know of, but I think it was with Tom. I think he had a reputation for it. The story was that he'd been playing it regularly for quite some time.
Number 3. Strike-breaking ancestor.
So all over the valleys, the miners and the iron workers are angry, they're up in arms, they're forming mobs, and they're heading down towards Newport. And our ancestor is trailing them in his first-class coach. monitoring them at every point.
Both Jack Whitehall and his father Michael came on to explore the life of their ancestors. They first went hunting for details about Michael's grandfather, but their more distant relative, Thomas Phillips, proved to be the most interesting. This lawyer had been fairly involved in Victorian politics, so much so that he started spying on Chartists.
He's gone from being a sort of officious windbag to now being a full-blown snitch who's trying to stop a mob of people that are fighting for freedom.
For those unaware, they were individuals who wanted universal suffrage for men. Thomas's actions contributed to a few Chartists being convicted of treason.
Basically, some miners and colliers have tried to get on the bus, and then Thomas Jane Phillips has gone, oh, excuse me, these guys haven't paid. He's a perennial snitch.
They were initially sentenced to be hanged, drawn and quartered, but thankfully, it was reduced to transportation for life. Still quite a harsh punishment for simply protesting.
So what happened then? Well, hopefully they beat him up.
Number 2, Diane Morgan's hussy ancestor.
But I never thought, like, in a million years that you'd actually asked me to be on it.
Also known as the hilarious Philomena Kunk, Morgan found simply appearing on the show embarrassing. She hoped she wouldn't have to do the slow head turn as well, but was convinced eventually. She learned her great-great-grandmother, Isabella Robson, had mothered a bunch of illegitimate children.
So this is the third illegitimate child. It's like a career for her. I can't believe this.
Not only this, but she'd taken all their fathers to court over it. Morgan was impressed by how much Isabella had gotten done during her life, alongside the fact that she provided for her children. Unfortunately, she died at only 30 years old during a cholera outbreak in Dumfries.
Thought you were going to tell me I was related to Robert the Bruce or Robbie Burns, one of the Roberts. But instead, my great-great-great-great-grandmother is a bit of a hussy.
Number 1, con artist.
Well, I loved hearing about William. I think it's fun to have a bit of a rogue in your family. Or maybe he was a Walter Mitty, I'm not sure which. Either he didn't know how to manage his money, or he was spending on something else, goodness knows what.
Journalist and presenter Fiona Bruce learned that one of her ancestors lost a fortune. He was known as a photographer, but some digging revealed he was actually a scammer. The man was named William and was Fiona's great-great-grandfather. William ran a scheme where he'd charge people for fake photography lessons.
On Tuesday last at Westminster Police Court, W. Morris Crouch, otherwise Morris Beethoven, late of Ebury Street, Pimlico, was brought up in custody, oh my God, on remand, charged with obtaining sums of money with intent to defraud.
This eventually went to court, and he was charged with fraud. William died in 1907 due to illness, after being a rather poor role model for his son, Frederick. When World War I broke out, Frederick joined, but lost his life after failing to duck after being hit with a shell.
The prisoner entered into agreements undertaking to make repayment of the deposit, but at the time his affairs were at the lowest pecuniary ebb, and there was no likelihood that he would be in a position to meet his obligations.
Were there any more awkward discoveries we forgot to mention? Let us know in those comments below.